We have a choice over the environments that we can put ourselves in. We can make decisions that promote the feeling of awe for ourselves. We can go out and try to find nature, and we can find art, and we can experience music. And within this framework of the importance of awe, we can understand that these experiences can have important, positive psychological effects on us, and they can change the way that we think, and they can change the way that we're connected with others. So in this video, we want to think about awe as an emotion. So just think back to the times that you previously felt awe. What type of sounds or visual images made you feel awe? It could have been looking out at the stars on a clear night. It could have been going to a concert and seeing somebody do, an impressive guitar solo. Or it could have been looking out at a canyon. Or you might be attending a talk by a prominent political or religious figure, or you could be viewing an impressive piece of art. So Dacher, Keltner, and Jonathan Haidt wanted to look into the science of the emotion of awe. This was in the early 2000s, and they found that scientific psychology didn't have much to say about it as this distinct emotion. But there's actually quite a bit of thought about awe among philosophers, sociologists, and theologians. So they wrote a paper entitled Approaching Awe, a Moral, Spiritual, and Aesthetic Emotion. And they say that two things are necessary to experience awe. The first is that we have to see something as vast, and the second is that we can't accommodate that thing with our existing mental structures. So vast sort of depicts this notion of these plains or these landscapes and canyons and things like that. And not being able to depict something with our existing mental structures, I think of something like that image of the Earth that scientists took, where we could finally see the Earth from an outsider's perspective, because we're not used to thinking of the Earth that way. But when we can see it as an outside source, then we have to update our mental representations and the way we think about ourselves and our planet and its place within everything. So within the paper, they have a theory that awe is an adaptive emotion, that it serves a purpose, and it's involved in helping us process these novel and complex pieces of information. And one of the most important purposes of awe is that it prompts reverence and devotion to powerful leaders. So one of the main influences of feeling the emotion awe is that you feel less of a sense of yourself as an individual. And this promotes people to bind together within groups instead of seeing themselves as an individual. So it promotes cohesion among many people, and this helps to enforce hierarchies and reduce conflict. So awe creates social glue in this sense. We become more pro-social when we experience awe. So one study showed that people were more generous about giving away raffle tickets to others when they experienced awe. Another study showed that those who experienced awe would pick up more pens for the experimenter when the experimenter accidentally dropped pens. Another study asked people who they were either viewing the landscapes of Yosemite, which involves all these towering redwoods and canyons and rock surfaces, or they were on Fisherman's Wharf Market. And they asked individuals on a scale of circles that were large and small, how much they perceived themselves as an individual. How large did they perceive themselves as an individual? And it turned out that people in Yosemite who had supposedly experienced awe by the scenery chose circles that were smaller in the sense that they view themselves as an individual to a lesser degree than those who were within Fisherman's Wharf Market. So awe seems to correspond to a diminished sense of self. Now there's an interesting theory proposed by Chirico and Yadin in 2018 that suggests that before awe served this social glue type of function, it was actually more in response to scenery. And the interesting thing here, again, it can serve an adaptive function. If you imagine that you're looking out over a clear plain so that you can see in all directions, and you're perceiving a positive emotion such as awe, that emotion corresponds to the feeling of safety. Because if you're able to see in all directions and verify that there's no predators and no threats, then you know that you're safe. So in this sense, awe is this emotion that when we gravitate to it, we're enhancing our survival and it serves an adaptive function for us. And even children prefer elevated positions where they're able to scan the environment. So this notion of feeling good when you have a sense of your environment like that is something that even young children have. So Dacher Keltner sums it up within a talk, which I'll link to below. He says that awe transforms your mind and how you view your social world and think about others around you. So little bursts of awe make you humble, engage with other people. So think about how you can build awe into your experience of life. Try to actively seek it by enjoying certain kinds of music, consuming nature videos, going out for a walk in nature, and listening to talks by prominent speakers. And in seeking out these experiences, you can potentially have realizations that have lasting impacts on your ideas and ultimately your life. So experiencing awe might be one of the fastest and most powerful methods of personal change and growth. So at Intermark Group, we've considered the feeling of awe in some of our videos. And one example is through our Alabama tourism work, where we show these images of trees and large-scale landscapes. And one example recently was from the DeSoto Caverns. This is a cave at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in Alabama. And the video itself is likely to evoke awe. And remember, there are two characteristics for awe. One is perceiving something vast, and second is that something exists beyond our mental structures. So when you view this image of the cave and the water dropping and the structures within the cave, this doesn't really correspond to our traditional notion of the world. We don't expect there to be these underground spaces that are so large. And so when we see this, it has the characteristics that invoke awe in us, and this can have positive psychological benefits and change the way that we think about the world. So thanks for checking out this video. Tell me what type of experiences invoke awe within you, and let me know what you think about whether you think this is a distinct emotion or whether it overlaps with other emotions that people might have. So we'll be posting regularly on our psychological ideas. So hit the subscribe if you want in on that, and hit the like if you like this video, and share it if you'd like to share it. And we'd enjoy hearing more about what you think about it in the comments below. Thanks for checking it out.